Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Before reading today's verse from the Bhagavad Gita, I would like to recite a prayer for Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, text number 54. Bhaktyā ananyayā śakya aham evam-vidho rjuna. Bhaktyā ananyayā śakya aham evam-vidho rjuna. jñātuṁ draṣṭum ca tattvena praveṣṭum ca paran-tapa. jñātuṁ draṣṭum ca tattvena praveṣṭum ca param-tapa. bhaktyā ananyayā śakya aham evam-vidho rjuna. jñātuṁ draṣṭum ca tattvena praveṣṭum ca param-tapa. Synonyms: bhaktyā, by devotional service. 2. But. Ananyayā, without being mixed with fruitive activities or speculative knowledge. śakyaḥ, possible. aham, I. evam-vidhaḥ, like this. Arjuna, O Arjuna. jñātuṁ, to know. draṣṭum, to see. ca, and. tattvena, in fact. praveṣṭum, to enter into. ca, also. param-tapa, O subduer of the enemy. Translation: My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Krishna can be understood only by the process of undivided devotional service. He explicitly explains this in this verse so that unauthorized commentators who try to understand Bhagavad Gita by the speculative process will know that they are simply wasting their time. No one can understand Krishna or how he came from parents in four-handed form at once changed himself into a two-handed form. These things are very difficult to understand by study of the Vedas or by philosophical speculation. Therefore, it is clearly stated here that no one can see him or enter into understanding of these matters. Those who, however, are very experienced students of Vedic literatures can learn about him from the Vedic literature in so many ways. There are so many rules and regulations, and if one at all wants to understand Krishna, he must follow the regulative principles described in the authoritative literature. One can perform penance in accordance with those principles. For example, to undergo serious penances, one may observe fasting on Janmashtami, the day on which Krishna appeared, and on the 2 days of Ekadasi, the 11th day after the new moon and the 11th day after the full moon. As far as charity is concerned, it is plain that charity should be given to the devotees of Krishna who are engaged in his devotional service to spread the Krishna philosophy or Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Krishna consciousness is a benediction to humanity. Lord Chaitanya was appreciated by Rupa Goswami as the most munificent man of charity because love of Krishna, which is very difficult to achieve, was distributed freely by him. So, if one gives some amount of his money to persons involved in distributing Krishna consciousness, that charity given to spread Krishna consciousness is the greatest charity in the world. And if one worships as prescribed in the temple, in the temples in India, there is always some statue, usually of Vishnu or Krishna. That is a chance to progress by offering worship and respect to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For the beginners in devotional service to the Lord, temple worship is essential, and this is confirmed in Vedic literature, Sweta Swatara Upanishad 6.23. Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha gurau tasyaite kathita yarthaha prakashante mahatmanaha. One who has unflinching devotion for the Supreme Lord and is directed by the spiritual master in whom he has similar unflinching faith can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead by revelation. One can understand Krishna by mental speculation. One cannot understand Krishna by mental speculation. For one who does not take personal training under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, it is impossible to even begin to understand Krishna. The word tu is specifically used here to indicate that no other process can be used, can be recommended, or can be successful in understanding Krishna. The personal forms of Krishna, the two-handed form and the four-handed, are described as sudurdarsham. Very difficult to see. Sudurdarsham. Sudurdarsham means very difficult to see. Two-handed forms are very difficult to see. They are completely different from the temporary universal form shown to Arjuna. The four-handed form of Narayana and the two-handed form of Krishna are eternal and transcendental, whereas the universal form exhibited to Arjuna is temporary. The words Twad anena na drishta purvam, verse 47, state that before Arjuna, no one had seen that universal form. Also, they suggest that amongst the devotees there was no necessity of showing it. That form was exhibited by Krishna at the request of Arjuna, so that in future, when one represents himself as an incarnation of God, people can ask to see his universal form. The word no. The word no, used repeatedly in the previous verse, indicates that one should not be very much proud of such credentials as an academic education in Vedic literature. One must take to the devotional service of Krishna. Only then can one attempt to write commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. Krishna changes the universal form to the four-handed form of Narayana and then to his own natural form of two hands. So Krishna changes from the universal form to the four-handed form of Narayana and then to his own natural form of two hands. This indicates that the four-handed forms and other forms mentioned in the Vedic literature are all emanations of the original two-handed Krishna. He is the origin of all emanations. Krishna is distinct even from these forms, what to speak of the impersonal conception. As far as the four-handed forms of Krishna are concerned, it is stated clearly that even the most identical four-handed form of Krishna, which is known as Mahavishnu, who is lying on the cosmic ocean and from whose breathing so many innumerable universes are passing out and entering, is also an expansion of the Supreme Lord. As stated in the Brahma Samhita 548, Yashaika Nishwasita Kalam Athavalambhya Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagadandanatha Vishnur Mahan Saiha Yashya Kala Vishesho Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The Mahavishnu, into whom all the innumerable universes enter and from whom they come forth again simply by his breathing process, is a plenary expansion of Krishna. Therefore, I worship Govinda Krishna, the cause of all causes. Therefore, one should conclusively worship the personal form of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has eternal bliss and knowledge. He is the source of all forms of Vishnu. He is the source of all forms of incarnation. And he is the original Supreme Personality as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. In the Vedic literature, Gopal Tapani Upanishad 1.1, the following statement appears. Satchidananda Rupaya Krishnaya Klishtakarine Namo Vedanta Vedaya Gurave Buddhi Sakshine. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Krishna, who has a transcendental form of bliss, eternity, and knowledge. I offer my respect to him. because understanding him means understanding the Vedas, and he is therefore the supreme spiritual master. Then it is said, Krishno vai paramam daivatam. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Gopal Tapani Upanishad 1.3. Eko vasi sarvaga Krishna idyaha. That one Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and he is worshipable. Ekopi san bahudayo bhavati. Krishna is one, but he is manifested in unlimited forms and expanded incarnations. Gopal Tapani Upanishad 1.21. The Brahma Samhita 5.1 says, Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govindaha Sarva Karana Karanam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna, who has a body of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. He has no beginning, for he is the beginning of everything. He is the cause of all causes. Elsewhere it is said, Yatra vatrinam Krishnakhyam param Brahma narakriti. The Supreme Absolute Truth is a person. His name is Krishna, and he sometimes descends on this earth. Similarly, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find a description of all kinds of incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in this list, the name of Krishna also appears. But then it is said that this Krishna is not an incarnation of God, but is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Ete cham sakalapum saha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Similarly, in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Mattaha parataram nanyat. There is nothing superior to my form as the personality of Godhead. He also says elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita, aham adirhi devanam. I am the origin of all the demigods. And after understanding Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, Arjuna also confirms this in the following words. Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. I now fully understand that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, and that you are the refuge of everything. Therefore, the universal form which Krishna showed to Arjuna is not the original form of God. The original is the Krishna form. The universal form with its thousands and thousands of heads and hands is manifest just to draw the attention of those who have no love for God. It is not God's original form. The universal form is not attractive for pure devotees who are in love with the Lord in different transcendental relationships. The Supreme Godhead exchanges transcendental love in his original form of Krishna. Therefore, to Arjuna, who was so intimately related with Krishna in friendship, this form of the universal manifestation was not pleasing. Rather, it was fearful. Arjuna, who was a constant companion of Krishna's, must have had transcendental eyes. He was not an ordinary man. Therefore, he was not captivated by the universal form. This form may seem wonderful to persons who are involved in elevating themselves by fruitive activities. But to persons who are engaged in devotional service, the two-handed form of Krishna is the most dear. Before I end today's session, the purport has been finished. I would like to ask three key questions from this translation, shloka and purport, to test how much we have understood. This may help us to understand the text better. First question, why is undivided devotional service ananyayā bhakti, ananyayā bhakti, the only means to truly know, see, and enter into the mysteries of Krishna's nature? Why is undivided devotional service ananyayā bhakti, the only means to truly know, see, and enter into the mysteries of Krishna's nature? Next question, what distinguishes Krishna's eternal personal forms 200 and 400 from the temporary universal form shown to Arjuna? And why are the personal forms more dear to devotees? Next question, how do practices like fasting, charity to devotees, temple worship, and guidance from a bona fide spiritual master support the path of devotional service and revelation to Krishna? That's all for today's reading. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada.